Hello, welcome to my video. Today is going to be day 22 of my 100-day challenge. And if you've seen any of my videos, you've heard me promise myself that I need to make one of those ephemera folios for my stamps. Because this is what I've been dealing with my stamps. I have sorted them by color, greens and blacks and purples and reds and blues. But as you can see, it's slippery. Just not easy to work with. I can get them all back together. This is so slippery. And clip them up here. Okay, so I'm going to start today a start to finish folio. Not sure how many videos it's going to take. I'm going to do it pretty step by step, just because I've never done it before. I know there's a lot of people that haven't done it before. And some of the videos I've seen, they definitely have some good ideas, but they haven't gone as step by step as I've had to figure out some of the things myself or piece together through a couple videos. So I thought I would try to do it as best as I could step by step for a real newbie. So, okay, I'll put those aside because it'll be a while before I get those into a finished book. So, I've decided to use this book. It was a garden flowers book that I have. It's in one of my flip throughs. I've taken the guts out. For that, I'm going to, I've made a journal before, and I'm going to use the spine here because what I've decided to put in there isn't that big. I'm going to attach the Tyvek kind of stuff that they have to give it some strength, and then I've got this really cute upside down butterfly floral birds of paradise fabric that I'm going to glue in when this is all attached. I thought that was kind of cool with the floral on there for that. So we'll do that. I'll show you how I did that, or I'll show you how I do that when I get to that point. I have decided to, I have folded some stuff already because, you know, folding paper is not that exciting. I've decided to use some pretty basic colored sheets that I will attach the clear strips through to put the stamps in. And then I've also chosen some pretty papers to go in between. Now these floral ones are actually the ones that came from this book, so they're the exact right size. And then I've got some bird ones that I have from another book that I have. Just they're a little bit bigger. So I think what I have in here is just some random, like I said, flowers, birds, etc. But as you see, it's pretty on one side, not pretty on the other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these sheets, which were 8.5 by 11, and fold them in half. And you can see they are much smaller than these sheets. I originally started to do just the sheets, and I thought, well, this book binder is just too huge. And that's why I decided to add these bigger ones just to fill it out a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, after I sew the pockets on here, I'm going to take these and I'm going to glue them to the not so nice side. So it'll be stamps, clear pockets, prettier pictures, and then I'll do the same thing. I'll put this here, the stamps, pretty pictures, and so on and so forth. Pretty stamps and pictures, etc. So it's not going to be just totally stamps. It will be like that. We'll see how that works. I'll see if I'm not wasting space, but I didn't want to necessarily put clear strips on these because by the time you put any ephemera or stamps in there, it would disappear, and these are, you know, pretty pages, whereas the other side of these are not. So why not cover those up? So get these other ones out of here. So I will be making the signature out of, like I said, these floral and some bird ones for that, and put that inside of here. Now I don't think it's going to be too big. I think it's going to be nice, one size. By the time I get some ephemera in there, it will make it a little bit bigger, but I think it should be okay. I ended up having, let's see how many sheets that I have. I ended up having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I do have one more over there. 10. Another one of these. So I have 10. I have, I believe, 9 bags of colored stamps. So I'll be able to have one color per page and an extra one. Now my thought is also that I'm going to put the signature in here. And like I said, I'm going to glue it. After I sew the pockets on, I'm going to take that and I'm going to glue it to here. And I'm going to glue it a little bit farther to the outside so that the inside doesn't become too bulky. So the outside will be a little bit thicker and maybe even it out a little bit. So again, we'll see. So I think what I'm going to do is get the stuff set up to glue the Tyvek and the butterfly into there, so I can get that drying before I try to go and enter the signature. So I will be right back with that. Okay, so we're going to get this glued into here, and I got Fabri-Tac that I'm going to use. I cut this, try to center that a little bit so I know where to go. Yeah, that'll work. I cut it the length of the book and just having it a couple inches wider. I know somebody's probably saying, oh, you're going to be covering up that handwriting of somebody, but if it was much older, like 1884, I wouldn't have done it, but it's from 1984, so not exactly that old, so I thought it wasn't that big of a deal to cover it. Plus, it's not really a journal. It's more utilitarian, so I thought I am okay with covering that up. Okay. Alright, so let's put that on there. Try to get it as centered as possible. Do that. Glue, glue, glue. Okay. I am smearing the ink. That's not good. Get rid of that glue gummy. That's not, okay, it's not too bad. Just really wanted to. Not sure if I needed to. I've seen people do it when they've added a new spine in there. I did that with my spring floral journal where I added a cardboard piece to expand the spine. So this might be overkill, but if I use this book a lot, stuff getting in and out, I just definitely wanted it to be strong enough. So, okay. Not that this matters, but it's kind of driving me nuts that it's staying up, so. Okay. All right, so. Now we're going to Fabri-Tac this on. Make sure it is the right way. But then again, I'm not sure if there is a right way, because there's flowers upside down and sideways, but since that's there, oop, what if we do it that way? Because that one's up on top. Boy, I guess it really doesn't matter. Okay, I think I'll do it that way. Yeah, okay, we're gonna do it that way. All right, so I think I'm going to glue one side of the label, or one side of the label, one side of the cover first, and then do the other side, because this is going to be a lot of glue to want to stick on at once. And I'm not even sure if I should be using this or like a Mod Podge, but I have this out. And I'm going to go for it. Oh, I hope that blue ink doesn't run through this. Ooh. I just might have made a fatal mistake here. Okay, we'll see. Too hard where those letters were. And smear that ink like it was doing on the Tyvek. Okay, let's give it a shot for the rest here. Come on. Should have tipped it sideways while I was letting it rest. Well, I hope everyone's having a nice day. It is definitely nice and sunny out here today, and it's going to be warm, like in the 70s all week. I kind of feel bad for the people who had last week off in this area for spring break. They're back in school this week, and last week was not as nice, but you just never know how it's going to be, so. Too hard and warp this fabric because it has a bit of a bias give on it. I can see a little bit of that red Tyvek through here, but I think most of it is in the spine, so not too bad. Probably should have flipped it over. There's less words on the inside, but well, I think I'm going to let that rest. Yeah. I have to probably come back and cut that a little because it's a little sticking out. A little bit sticking out, but or add a little more glue, but I'm going to see how it ends up when it's all said and dry. But pretty. I think that's going to look nice when we get the pages in there. Yeah, very nice. I like it. Okay. This was a fat quarter I bought at Joann Fabrics, so nothing fancy, nothing too expensive. I just thought it was pretty fabric, so yeah. There we go. Okay. All right, so we're going to put this to the side to let dry, and I'm going to start working on cutting the strips for the pages next. So be right back with that. Okay, so it's time to cut the strips that I'm going to attach to the 8.5 by 11 paper. Now, one thing I didn't address in the first part of the beginning of the video, that I did say that I took the 8.5 by 11 and folded it in half. I have decided to use both of these, or this as a whole piece when I glue it in, just to give it some strength as it's getting sewn. So it's getting sewn through 2 layers, as well as, as it's getting pulled up and down into the book. So I am using the full 8.5 by 11, but just one side to get added to the book with the folded together. So I've decided to cut, and I've cut a few already, or one sheet already. I've decided to cut a 2-inch strip that's going to go on the bottom. Get rid of some of this from the glare. I have a feeling it's glaring. Cut 2-inch strip for the bottom. I'm going to cut 1.5-inch strips that I'm going to place 2 of those, 1.5 and 1.5, and then I have a 1-inch strip that's going to go there. Okay, so do that, get rid of that. Okay, now the plastic sleeves that I chose, they're a little bit, it might be hard to tell on camera, they're a little bit frosted, not too much, but they were thicker ones than I had. I've had several other kinds here that I could have chose, but some of them that were more clear felt a little thinner than these that were more opaque. It's hard to tell, but they just felt a little thicker. So we went with that one for this project, and like I said, I'm just gonna cut these strips down, or for the pages. I'm going to start by cutting off the edge that holds the pages together, and then, ooh, that went too far. And then I'm going to just ever so slightly cut the bottom off where it's double sewn, because I don't need that. Because what we're going to do is I'll have 2 layers. When I cut them, I'll end up cutting down this side and having 2 strips. So I need, let's see, it's about 11. So I need, for the bottom one, I need a 2-inch strip. So I'm going to cut a 2-inch strip. And then I need 2 1.5-inch strips. So we're going to go 1.5 and 1.5. And then the final one is 1 inch. Okay. So, like I said, when we cut the strips, they're folded. So I'm just going to go ahead and snip the edges of those. Just to get them open. And then when we have our pages, we'll be able to take the 1 2-inch, the 2 1.5s, and then the 1 inch. So, okay, I'm gonna clean this up, be right back, and I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna attach these to the pages to be sewn. All right, so I got all the rest of the strips cut for these, the 1.5, 1 inch, and the 2 inch, and I have split them down the center. Oh, missed one. It took 3 sheets of the sleeves to make all I needed for the 10 pages, and I had enough left over to cut 4 additional 1.5-inch strips, so I can make an extra page there if I need to. So, okay, so the way that I'm going to end up doing these is the first one, move these a little bit out of the way, the 2-inch, I'm going to stick at the bottom. Now, like I said, it's folded. It doesn't really matter which way it ends up going. I'm going to put the side that looks, this is a plain paper, side that looks better if I need to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this around to encapsulate this sheet of paper and to give no rough edges on the side here for when they're sewn. All right, so I'm just going to start, I'm just going to fold, 1 inch or so over for the one side, and I'm going to put it on the bottom And I have these clips from sewing. You could probably use paper clips if you wanted to. You can use a tack of glue if you wanted to. This just seems to be the easiest to do for me. So once it's folded over here, I'm just going to flip it over, and I'm going to gently fold it over. Not really pull it so it's, you know, making a bow or anything, but there's enough now that it's going to be able to add some stuff in there. Now I'm going to sew on the bottom, so I probably want to put my clip just a little bit higher so that there's room for it to grab. So that's the 2-inch. I'm going to add the 1.5 inch. I think what I'm going to do is just add all of them on one side and then flip it over. So just really just since I didn't cut the strips down from the 8.5 wide, then there's plenty of room no matter what size I fold over to do it. So, all right, so this sheet of paper is about, like I said, 8.5 wide. So the bottom piece, the 2 inches at the bottom, the almost bottom, the next one, I'm going to have the bottom of its strip land at about 5 3/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, about 5 3/4. Gives it. I did line this up earlier to see how it would look, and it seems to give it the most even spacing for all 4 things. So that bottom ends up being about 5 3/4. This bottom of the second, or the top-ish one, is going to be at 3.5 inches. 1, 2, 3, and a half. So I'm going to go ahead and clip that one down. And then the top 1-inch one, the bottom of it is going to be at approximately 1.5 inches. So right there. Now it's probably hard to see the shine, see where it's not shiny, but leaving it where I had the marks at the 5 3/4, 3.5, 1.5, gives a pretty good spacing, I feel, for these strips here. So, all right, so we're going to take these, we're just going to fold them over, like I said, gently, and throw a little clip on there. Just to go, and we'll throw a little clip on that one, and just to go. So you see, they're folded over on that side, and I'm just going to take a little quick glance and see if these look like they're straight. Straightish, yeah. Yeah, that seems to work. Like I said, by the time I sew it down, this will give a little bit of, it's not really tight wrapped around, it'll give enough give for it to go on. So, all right, well, I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to get my sewing machine set up, and I'll be back and show you how I'm going to sew these pages. Okay, I've got my sewing machine set up, and I've got the one piece that I have attached the clear sleeves to. So I'm going to do a straight stitch on this, and then I'm going to make sure that my needle is always as far over so it catches as far down as possible. I'm going to start by sewing the straight lines across the 4 bottoms, and then I will sew the 2 sides just to give it a little extra strength. So here we go. I just want to make sure when I get to this side that I'm checking that flap that's underneath there so it doesn't start coming down. I want the needle to catch it. Okay, so we'll take those clips off that bottom. They are not needed anymore. And we'll snip the threads. Okay. Now I'm going to do the bottom of this one next. I'm going to have to switch my needle all the way over to the other side. Move that up a hair. And start that one. Once I knew it had gone far enough on this side, I was able to take the clip off. It was kind of getting in the way. Okay. All right, now make sure you are doing the bottoms. Don't want to sew the top in. All right, so the next bottom I'll do is this one. Oh, my thread has got a little bit gnarly here. Okay, curly thread. Okay, so we'll do this one. And once again, we'll make sure the needle is as far to the bottom as possible. Okay, snip, oops, missed a thread, and we'll snip that side. Okay, all right, not beautiful on the back, but it should do what I want it to do. Okay, let's go this way. I keep flipping back and forth because I want to have the least amount of space because I have a small throat on the sewing machine, so. Okay, so all 4 pockets are sewn down, and I probably could just go with that since I'm going to be gluing the back down, but I decided just to give it a little extra strength and go down this side and then that side, just for as it's getting, you know, pulled up and used for that. So swivel it over and go. Okay, one side is done. That was on the right side. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so that one is done. I think it's pretty good. Grab a bag of my stamps here, give it a little test with the yellow ones. That's a really tall stamp. And the smaller stamps. Oops. Stick some medium stamps in there, like that. Yeah, that should work. Okay. Well, I'm excited about this because, let me tell you, putting these stamps in one bag was very hard to see what I had, so this way is definitely gonna make it a little easier. So, okay, well, I'm not gonna bore you with adding all these stamps to it, but it definitely should work. I'm quite excited about it, so I'm going to call this video done. I'm gonna off camera sew the rest of my pages. So in the next video, I will create the signature to attach to my book that has been drying over here. Looking so beautiful, beautiful. And I will, I haven't figured out yet if I'm gonna attach these pages to the signature before I attach it, or do the signature and then go back and glue it. So we'll decide that, but I should be able to finish the portfolio for the stamps in the next video. So I am quite excited to see this come through then. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something, or I was able to show you something maybe you never saw before. If you'd like to see future videos, especially the finishing up of this one, please subscribe to my channel and like it if like the video. That's great, helpful to me, keeps me going. So I hope you have a wonderful and creative day. Thanks again.